Welcome to the other side of sales, the sales show for the rest of us. Sit back and relax as we'll get started with the show soon. For business inquiries and sponsorship opportunities, email hello@othersideofsales.com. Welcome to the other side of sales, the sales show for the rest of us. Please consider giving us a like, comment, and follow as it greatly helps out the team and our mission to improve the sales profession for everyone. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. In 3, 2, 1.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here, and some of us are queer.
Technically, isn't everyone queer? It's just whether or not you accept it and where in that spectrum you are.
No, there's a membership fee.
Oh, fuck. Well, that explains a bit.
Yeah, it's a SaaS model.
Just another way we're taxing the underrepresented.
Here for it. That's a joke before somebody comes from it. Like 90% of what we say here. So, we... Jim.
You're so good at these intros. It's just brilliant.
So, what makes today extra special?
Because one of my absolute favorite humans on the face of the planet is here, and I'm so excited.
Oh,
and
fuck my brag, okay.
If you thought Evan and I were chaos, I brought the hard liquor straight for this. This is gonna be great.
I purposely did not bring the hard liquor because I was like, we might have found the limit. We might have found the limit. So, would you like to say the name, the full legal, of course, on her birth certificate name?
Absolutely. She did pay to have this modified. So she is April freaking Palmer. LinkedIn, I would say the other F word because that's the one that's actually on her birth certificate.
I'll say it, April fucking Palmer.
She's just one of the best sales reps, especially enterprise sales reps I've ever worked with. She's got so much freaking experience. She's got so much experience. I genuinely have hired her. And I was her boss for a while, so you guys can get all the dirt on me from her. But also, like, she does a ton with VCU's Entrepreneurship Center. She's a university professor. She works with 1.5 million different startups on their growth strategies. And she's just raising some, like, absolutely freaking incredible humans as well. So she's just amazing in every possible way and kind of who I want to be when I grow up. So, yeah.
Well, on that note...
That's my improv intro, April. I hope it's...
Well, on that note, the bar has been raised. It's April!
Hello! I feel like my head's so much bigger than y'all's in this view. It's because I'm in this little tiny, like, cubby. I'm in a co-working space, and so...
We can make it there.
Even better. I like that.
That's it. It's like all forehead. Oh my gosh, guys, gals, non-binary pals, I'm so excited to be here. I feel like I made it. Like, I'm officially infamous.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad that Ashley connected us too. You're like a bundle of joy doesn't quite cut it.
Yeah.
But I know you know where I'm going with that. And because I have to say it for the algorithm gods, if you're liking the show, please make sure to like, comment, and follow. And if you're an ally, you'll invite people to join us right now.
Yeah.
And if you're not inviting people to join us for now, well, I guess you know what the opposite of an ally is.
Take no prisoners, Evan.
Listen, we're here to cancel. So, so as always, we want to talk about the most divisive part of the episode as we wait for people to trickle in here. I know Jim's going to be mildly triggered by this, but I can't wait. So, we're going to talk about the question of the day. Ashley, you ready to read it?
Oh, I'm ready for this. This has been a long time coming.
All right, get your answer ready, April. Here we go.
Okay.
Are you a good person or do you enjoy eggnog?
Okay. This is like with me always, this is going to be a very complex answer, and because the answer is I fucking hate eggnog.
Thank
Worst
you.
ever, except I make an eggnog that is to die for from scratch with egg yolks and all the things. And that eggnog is like, but it's only because I make it. That's it.
I love it.
Eggnog.
I can't even imagine good eggnog is the problem. Like I've tried it a few times. I don't even like White Russians. Like, how do you do that?
It's the eggnog is like, it's heavy in your mouth, right? Like it kind of like sits on your tongue and squishes your taste buds and makes you feel like shit. So it's like, it's just ugh.
I love it though. I love it. I'm here for it. Jim does not like it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He loves that we're hating on eggnog.
Yeah, I love the hate for eggnog. I don't love eggnog. Yeah, don't get it twisted. Yes,
Evan,
shots have been fired.
Do you eat eggnog flavored ice cream? Because if you do, this might be the end of the stream.
No, I don't like eggnog flavored ice cream. I would now I feel like I need to ask my partners if they like eggnog, because if they do, I might have one less or two less or three less or four less partners. This is a very dangerous show to consume a liquid on, by the way. Just so you know, you might get wine all over your computer.
Oh, I'm here. They should have given me a sippy cup, though.
Oh my God.
Brand store. Evan and I were talking about merch. We should get other side of sales, like not like those like goblets, but they have a lid you can use for coffee. But like use that for drinking on podcasts, because one, people don't realize that there's alcohol in it, and two, it helps with spit takes, and if you drop it.
Yeah,
there we go.
When I teach on Zoom, I maybe shouldn't say this out loud, but when I teach on Zoom, I teach. I have like a 9:30 class once a week, and then like sometimes I have an evening class. So I drink out of the same mug. It's a mermaid shaped mug, and so you have no idea. It could be tea, it could be soup, it could be coffee with Baileys, it could be shots of tequila. Nobody knows what I'm drinking because it's the same mug all the time.
I'm here for it. I love it. I need to see this mug.
Smart.
Fair. So what are you drinking? What kind of wine?
I am drinking a beautiful Tempranillo. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. We have this beautiful company called Common House. It's a co-working space, but it's actually more like a country club. Like we have a swimming pool. I'm not even kidding. We have a swimming pool on the roof.
Come through. We work.
Yeah. We have a restaurant on the 4th floor. And so I'm working out of here today because I was mentoring somebody who's on the job hunt. And then I thought, well, I'll be here and I'll put on like real people clothes. So I've got on the equivalent of adult pajamas. They're like overalls, but they look fancy. And I got my wine. And so I'm kind of adulting today in a way
love that. Love that. Well, I know we're going to dive right into the topic of communication, because one of the things that me and April frickin' Palmer bonded over was the fact that we are both direct people. That people might say that's the nice word for it. Yeah, we're direct. And there are ways to be direct in a healthy way. There are ways to be direct in a less than healthy way. And we're going to talk about the differences. So first, of course, April, what would you say is like the definition of a healthy direct communication style?
First of all, I grew up in Oklahoma, so like bless your heart culture, right? And so I think that one of the things that I've learned is that there's a part of bless your heart culture that's like, you know what, you're a fucking idiot, right? Full stop. But there's also a part of bless your heart culture that's like, hey, I'm going to say a hard thing for you, but I'm going to say it in such a way that like your tone of voice and your body language and all those things maybe like butters you up to be more receptive to it. And so I've tried to take the butter you up to be more receptive to it thing, tone, cadence, body language, how you frame like the sandwich, those types of things, but also trying to be direct, because candidly, like people aren't very good at picking up subtleties. They're just not. We're not designed to be able to pick up subtleties, especially in our culture in the US.
The algorithm doesn't like subtlety.
Yep. Nuance. Social media killed nuance. Social media killed nuance.
Exactly. And so you can say hard things in a way that is gently delivered and still have people hear it. And for me, I think that is the backbone of really good communication, when you're trying to give constructive feedback or help people get better.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. I like that. April, what words? Ashley, what did you have to say in response?
The other A one.
Yeah, I know the other A. I could take that in many different directions. Never mind. I think you're spot on, and that's the thing. It's interesting. I even saw Marcus Chan posted this today, and I thought it's actually spot on. It's like basic level is thinking about what to say. Expert level is thinking about how you say it. So that tone, that body language, stuff like that makes a world of difference. I've seen that a lot, especially when you're going cross-cultural.
Yeah.
So now, especially now, like I live in Europe, so like when I'm dealing with the Brits, I'm very attentive to my body language. When I'm dealing with the French, I'm very attentive to my inflections, and my pronunciation. And kind of go from there. We're gonna have fun with this one because I got that before.
So I know LinkedIn user here is Jim, Dr. Jim. He's amazing. So have at it, ladies. Because I have this problem, I haven't figured it out.
Right? Like resting bitch face is a real thing. I have it. I smile all the time. Even when I'm smiling, people are like, "You mad, bro?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not fucking mad. What's your problem? I'm happy."
Oh my goodness.
I've been with
I
my
have that
husband
problem
for 16 years. He still asks me this shit.
Yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's absolutely a thing. And how I've overcome it is two things. One, when I'm in person, again, body language helps a lot to mitigate it's like leaning in and having a serious face looks very different than leaning out and having a serious face. But when I'm online, and especially with Zoom and stuff like that, I use my hands to talk a lot more. I do a lot more exaggerated facial expressions, stuff like that. So I'm intentionally correcting for, but part of that's because one, I'm in sales, and two, I do a lot of training of salespeople, so I have to be more animated. So that's one side of it. The other thing I found helps really well for me, at least, is intent. So like if I'm pausing, if I'm doing stuff like that, I will also be like, hey, give me a sec. I'm just thinking it through. Really excited. This is good. Ignore my face. So I'll also call it out. If you call it out and own it and like maybe make a joke out of it, like most people tend to be, oh, okay, that's just how they are. But if you don't comment on it, then they fill in the blanks with, kind of the whole Brené Brown, the story I tell myself.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
the same way.
I have to say, Evan, I'm so glad that you called out that resting bitch face is gender neutral, because I was going to say a sick burn, and now that I said it, I'm like old now, so I can say that I was going to say a sick burn, where I was going to be like, we think that bitch is gender neutral. Just look at Evan. But then I didn't get a chance to say it because you said it. So then now I just so now I'm just going to drink more wine.
Read me.
Please.
Oh my goodness. I'm fully aware of it, but here's the thing. Unlike Ashley and April, I don't care. So if I have
it depends on the day when I care. It depends on who I care about. Like,
oh, fair enough. If I've got resting bitch face, it's usually because you gave me a reason to have it.
That's absolutely what can be communicated with that. Like, I have been in romantic relationships. I've also been in business relationships and working with clients. And I've purposefully done that thing where like I went from like, oh, everything's happy to like dead eyes, right? Where like you take the expression off of your face, you do the thing, you like shutter your eyes and you just look at them like, are you being fucking serious right now? Just that you don't have to say words, and that communicates a lot. So think about how you maybe like use that to your advantage sometimes, but also chameleon. Like I don't know any other way to say it, so I just always call it a chameleon. But like,
yeah, I got what you mean. Yeah,
if you have something that maybe like doesn't resonate with people, start to look at the people around you and chameleon what they do, like mirror what they do. So if they're leaning forward when they're talking to you, lean forward when you're talking to them, because that obviously means something to them. You may not know what it is. I've raised a kid with Asperger's, right? So like we had to learn a lot of how do you communicate to people when you don't necessarily pick up on cues for empathy and tones of voice and things like that. You can
Yeah.
totally, like, you don't have to know why you're doing it to do it and still make people comfortable.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's a lot of mirroring. And I'll say this even like I was like, oh look, I'm gonna do a resting bitch face and see if anyone notices. No, no one noticed. It's fine.
I love what
gosh,
Jacob
I'll
said
just,
here.
Credence says, my face betrays my emotion way too often. Credence, I'm going to tell you, I have like subtitles on my forehead. There is no, if I think you're an idiot, I swear to God, it comes across as like I-O-dot, right? Like you 100% know what I'm thinking. And also, I don't have a filter, so whatever comes out of my mouth, I'm just as surprised by that as the people listening to it, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
holy shit, did I say that?
Look,
Am
I
that
remember
smart?
being
Am I that much of a bitch?
I remember being in my mid 20s and meeting a couple different people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I think about everything before I say it." I'm like, "What do you mean you think about things before you say them? How do you do that?"
I never understood the logic. Like, do people really stop and go, can I have ranch dressing, please? Yeah, I can. Great. Then they say it out loud. Like, really? What?
That takes so
How
much
do you
time.
think about these things?
That's
Yeah.
not practical. That's not practical. Also, hi, Jess, one of our regulars. Love her. Also, I like how my go-to was ranch dressing. Can we acknowledge that? Like, what? Am I okay?
How did ranch dressing hurt you, Evan?
Girl, that's another episode.
That's an OnlyFans episode. That is not a LinkedIn episode. I promise you that.
I really wish I could tell y'all some of the plans me and Ashley have for the new year. Because there's going to be a lot of content coming out that will not be on LinkedIn because we can't. No, not on OnlyFans. No, I'm too gay. But, it's like...
I learned it can be too gay for OnlyFans.
Listen,
Oh, chocolate fries.
just put a little ranch on it, it'll be fine. By the way, just so you know, one of our sponsors, this is a sponsored segment right now, Early RevOps, they will solve your sales team's problems by just putting a little ranch on it.
I hate you so much right now.
But because I made that joke, people remember that ad when we play it later. So you are welcome for the psychological manipulation that
Michael's gonna take some informational meeting in a week or two, and they're gonna ask him about ranch dressing. And he's gonna be like, "What are you talking?
What did
about?"
Evan do? What did Evan do? I don't have to ask where you heard about me from. I know.
Oh my God. Can't get your CRM, your reps to use their CRM? Just put a little ranch on it.
Oh, we got a YouTube viewer, Nino Rose, here. Did the slow romantic thing call it so a response from him? Oh, yeah.
Maybe said it earlier, yeah, she's having some issues with her partner, so we're gonna give you like big hugs from afar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
Big
Jacob
hugs.
says when you call your brand Hidden Valley, you invite a lot of questions about exactly what you're hiding.
Right?
I thought exactly where you're hiding it.
Right? What is Victoria's a secret?
I much prefer it was a secret, but maybe that's just
You know you're gay when, or gay adjacent.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're going to hell.
fun.
I'm driving. I'm carpooling.
I have a basket. I've been weaving it for a long time so that I can just like sit in my fashionable hand basket and go straight to hell.
I'm here for it. I am here for it. So one thing, you and me, April, we talked about this before. We were talking about like the raising your children. I remembered that when I was in my late teens, early 20s, I used to get, I guess, like a lot of unhelpful feedback, I would say, in terms of like, Evan, you're really direct and blunt and it's not helpful, blah, 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 whatever. Instead, it took me until I was like in like 22, 23 for someone to literally pull me aside and go, what you're saying's not wrong. It's just your delivery. And then once I did get it correctly, like then sometimes the problem isn't you, it's them. So like, but you have to get you right before you can figure out if it's the audience's fault. Because I had like the cart before the horse. So what tips do you have if you're like a manager or a leader or a parent or just a decent human being who sees someone on the struggle bus when it comes to this?
Okay, first of all, I have some thoughts about this. First of all, I think the biggest thing is when you're communicating with somebody, assume positive intent from that person, right?
Unless they're me.
unless they're you, but like that's a whole different story. Like you're just
It's true.
You're
Evil.
just my
You made that very obvious. So unless they make it very obvious, we will assume positive intent.
So our house, just so you all know, like the thing, we call our house the Rainbow House. I am raising 3 of the gayest kids you've ever met in your life. Like they're so queer, and I adore them. Our house, like where the kids, my students can come over for a hug if they want to. If holidays are coming and your family doesn't accept who you are, come be part of our family. Like we will, like this is our family, right? And so one thing about raising, I am there are my kids' rules, right? Like when we were little, the house rules were we don't say the word but. You can say ass, but you can't say the word but, B-U-T-T. And also like get every living thing out of the house if there's a fire. Those were my 2 rules growing up for my kids. Oh, and don't be an asshole. Those were the 3 rules. Now the rules are don't add to or detract from the population today, right? Like that's good. And don't.
Can you define?
Like 3 cats in the past year.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have 2 dogs.
So is that a new rule?
Yes. No. I mean, it's yes. That's always like get all the living things out. Is the thing.
Yeah.
But more than that, don't be an asshole. So okay. So assume positive intent, right? If somebody says something to you and you're like, oh, that person is an asshole, maybe take a step back and be like, did they mean to be an asshole? What's going on in the world? Was it just their tone of voice and not their words, whatever, right? Before you communicate back to them. I think that's really, really important. But then also, if somebody's doing something that you don't want them to do, it goes that way too, right? So like when Ashley and I work together, one of the things that we would do is if something was happening that was just driving us batty, and that happens, right? Like with coworkers. By the way, did you notice that we matched today, our colors? We didn't even coordinate that. I know.
No, we didn't.
I didn't get the memo. Kind of rude.
Sorry.
I thought you were an ally.
I think maybe you're not the ally.
Ooh. She just stopped the show. That was crazy. Where's your shut the fuck up cakes shirt?
Hold up.
I know it's coming. I don't know. It's coming. Yeah, see? I knew it. It was gonna happen every time. Is it really other side of sales if Ashley doesn't get herself canceled at least once?
At least once. Chronic oversharer. I do like the Foo Fighters, actually. Okay, so here's the thing, is one of the tenets that we had in communicating with one another is if we were doing something that annoyed the other one or whatever, we didn't like call them or go into Slack and be like, hey, stop that, right? Like, you don't do that. You start with a kind tone of voice. And this assumption that like this person doesn't know there's positive intent in whatever they're doing. And then you can use your words to kind of ease into it. Now, if somebody keeps doing it, and keeps doing it, then like you can progressively get kind of like more blunt, more to the point. But people who, and I've raised my kids with romantic partners over the years. And one of the things where we really had problems was when the kids would do something and they would jump immediately to like the parent tone of voice instead of asking nicely. You can do this with anyone. You can do it with your clients. You can do it with your prospects. You can do it with your colleagues. You can do it with your kids. You can do it with your parents. Start with a nice tone of voice. Don't just jump into being an asshole. Like work your way up to it. Totally fine.
I like the work your way up to it because it's kind of like you're earning the justification. If that makes sense.
Yeah, like I want to be able to go back and like give time. But somebody's like, "Why are you such a bitch?" I'm like, "Oh, I have timestamps and receipts."
Yeah.
Because I told you this and this and this and this and this, and you didn't listen, and so now I'm being a bitch. And you're a fucking asshole. Done.
Oh, my favorite is when other people are being rude. I'm like, yay, my turn. Yay.
Oh my God. So we're opposite, Evan, because I go the opposite way. The worse people are to me, the more like saccharine, sweet, bless your heart I get. So
yeah, I'm a Yankee.
Yeah. See, you're a Yankee. I'm the other way where I will bless your heart so hard that your heart fucking stops and you didn't even realize that you're dead for 10 minutes.
Well, here's the thing. I'm also the child of a southerner and a northerner. So like
Mm,
I've got the conniving, backstabby education supporting my Yankeeness. So I'll destroy you in one sentence.
yes.
I'm not bless your heart. I'm bless every part of your body. I'm like every organ and the people sitting around you.
Evan just, Evan just blessed your weenus. You want to know what a bad parent I am? Seriously, do you know what a weenus is? Does anybody know what a weenus is?
Yes, I know what a
Wait,
weenus
it's like
is.
it's this skin right here. Like this
I
is
know
your
it's
weenus, right?
so
Yeah.
stupid.
So
I love it. It's
when I was a kid, that's our new hashtag is bless your weenus. When
oh my
my
god.
kids were
That's
little
great.
and I was a single mom, like I was a single mom, y'all. I was so poor and I was so tired because I worked all the fucking time. And we would go to the grocery store and the kid, like it's nighttime, right? It's cold. We lived in New England and they'd be just like rearing each other up. And I'd be like, okay, whoever can lick their own weenus while we're waiting in line gets a candy bar. And
I hate
my
it.
kids would literally sit there and be like
Oh
doing
my
that.
god.
It was
That's
amazing. It kept them quiet and busy, and I didn't have any money for candy bars, thank God, because they never managed to do it. But that's what type of parent I am.
Well, it's like that stupid trick where it's like you can't there's a way to grab the hand. It's like all of a sudden you can't lift your hand off your head or something like that. Or there's
Oh,
like
I wasn't that smart. I mean, Google.
no, I know,
Google
but like I love that because like
is-
no one can lick their elbow unless like you have an abnormally short humerus.
Yeah. Well, actually,
Right,
it's
or
also
like
one of the
has a
things.
teeth or something, right?
Well,
Yeah.
mom has to be able to explain it to be able to do
But
it.
believe me, the look that I got when we were in line at like, the Wild Oats at the time in Boston, where I was like, okay, whoever can lick their own weenus gets a candy bar. And my parents would be like, lick your butt?
The scandal.
Child protective services? Yeah. Like
Oh my
it was,
goodness.
it was real bad. So like I'm here for parenting tips and sales tips all week. It's fine.
Love
Okay,
it. I love it.
I can think of some parents of toddlers who I might be passing that trick on to.
Oh yeah. It's a great one. It's a great
Also,
one.
you are not too late, Thomas. Welcome to the.
Oh,
I would say
oh,
party, but I think shit show is probably a better word.
Thomas and I are from the same area of Kentucky, so while we have no like proof that we're related, we assume that we're cousins because it's Kentucky.
Kentucky. I like this. There were the four. Girl, look up Glozella. Glozella. I love her. Come on, Credence. Oh my goodness. Okay, now we need to get Credence on the show and then do the saltine challenge.
Maybe we
This
should
is-
do this on the next one.
Oh
I'm
my
just
goodness.
laughing because like I heard like the saltine challenge and like this is the thing I think like every once in a while I'll go on like kids today sort of things. Like when I was a kid, we had the saltine challenge, we had the drink a gallon of milk challenge, which
Oh,
always
God.
resulted in someone vomiting because you physically
Yeah.
can't drink a gallon of milk.
That
which is basically-
sounds awful.
it is, but it's not going to hurt you versus like Tide Pods or like let's do
Right.
this random stupid electricity thing or let's go take a selfie on a bridge and I'm going to fall off it and die thing.
Yeah, okay, so I always forget that we're such different generations because I think I feel young in my heart, even though I might not look young in my face.
You look very young and very gorgeous.
Aw,
And of course, somebody comes for me. I'm gay. Jesus, it's not a flirt.
it's fine. I was having
I'm
this
so
moment-
butch.
I am so much. I have a very, very dear friend of mine. His name is Andrew Hodby. If you like follow him, he's amazing. He's an amazing human. If you look at him and if you judge people by the way that they look, you would think that he's a hillbilly. Like he's bald, he has a beard down here, and like he definitely looks like he like protests some of the like outside of Planned Parenthood, right? But one of the most amazing humans ever. And when his son came out as trans, he moved across the country, got a new job, ended up ending his relationship with the mom, like all these things so that he could support his son. He does everything for his kids. And it is like he was on my live show and I just cried the whole time because he's just such an amazing human. But the funny thing is he pops into my DMs almost every day with this fantastic moment of generosity and gratitude, right? He's just like, I just want to tell you I appreciate you're a good human. But here's what he does is because he knows what happens to women on LinkedIn. Like I get a lot of pictures of genitalia on LinkedIn. I don't know why. I don't feel like there's nothing about me that's like, ooh, I want to send her a picture of my dick, but they do. And so he
Jesus.
pops in and he's like, hey, just want to say this in the most respectful and non-sexual manner. I really appreciate you and I love being your friend. And he says it every time.
Aww.
So I finally went to him and I was like, okay, can we just assume positive intent here? I promise you I will. I do not think that you're hitting on me when you say nice things to me. I promise. Right. And so like this is a communication moment where this is you see every single day he pops in and he just says like he's like, I just love being friends with you. But like not like in an inappropriate way or demeaning you or making you feel like, you know, and I just and I'm like
Not presuming anything.
That's adorable.
So cute. He is so good, amazing human. Andrew Hobbsy, like chef's kiss. What were we talking about? I lost track. More wine.
No. More wine, yes. I forgot too. Well, this is how the show works.
Yes, Brittany is coming home. Amazing
Yes.
What a strong soul and a horrible struggle to have gone through.
Of course. What the hell is that? Before we go to a commercial break, listen, I'm a firm believer. People don't buy White Castle, you lease it. Okay?
Oh,
it's a very short term. It's a sublet.
You only get it for 1 night. And the cleaning fee is exorbitant.
On that note, time for a break.
The Other Side of Sales live shout it goes to outstanding people making the sales profession a better, more diverse, equitable, inclusive space.
Scarlett Gordon, Director of Business Development at Arise Virtual Solutions, Inc. Sandy Zen, Founder and Sales Recruiter at Recruiting and Coaching by Zen, Inc.
Who do you think deserves a shout out in a future episode? Tag them in the comments.
The Other Side of Sales does new live episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to give us a follow and a like if you enjoy this, and tag your friends in the comments below if you think they'd like this or if they should be a guest on our show. Hey friend, it's Evan here. And you want to know what is something that I think we all can relate to, unfortunately? And I just, painfully I can't deal with it. It's tech stacks. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. There's too many tech stack options. There's too many tools I got to switch between. 8 or 9 a day. No, ma'am. I get overwhelmed just going to the Taco Bell drive-thru. Like, it's unnecessary. But that doesn't have to be a thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. That's why Early RevOps is here. I love Early RevOps because they help build bespoke systems that help I'm keeping this stuttering in. They help build bespoke systems that deliver a strategy that optimizes your tech stack. One that will actually save your sales reps time so they can make more sales and give your clients a better experience. So whether or not you need fractional revenue operations, you need consulting and advising, you need selection and implementation of new sales technology, or you need me to stop talking with the word sales because I have a lisp, and you need content generation, or you want joint projects of other leading industry experts that aren't me, they're Ashley Early. You can talk to Early RevOps, get a tech stack audit, see if you're up to snuff, and start elevating your tech stack today. Yes, I'm using marketing jargon and lingo here because it's fun, and it's my podcast, not yours. So, I'm just kidding, it's not my podcast, it's also Ashley Early and Ryan Woodard's podcast. But that is the point, I think. So, talk to Early RevOps. That's earlyrevops.com. Early, REVOPS.com. Earlyrevops.com. Tell them I sent you.
For business inquiries and sponsorship opportunities, email hello@othersideofsales.com.
Oh my god, that is the best of drops. Like, because this is my podcast and not yours, and it definitely sounds like a paid phone, like a 1-900 number. That is, I would pay money to call.
Oh my god,
into
tell us in the chat if you remember
Yeah.
900 numbers.
Is that a thing anymore, or do they just like?
I'm sure it is, but I'm sure no one uses it. Like, Evan, do you even remember 900 numbers?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. This is what I was going to say. This is where I went off on this. Is we're from very different generations. I forget about this because I feel really young. But like, I grew up without internet, right? Like, it wasn't a thing. And then when I was in high school, there were like AOL chat rooms, and we had the like thing, whatever. And before Google was Ask Jeeves. Like, we had to ask Jeeves.
I never used that. I was born the year what the internet was invented.
Right. Okay. And so like whatever. So not 900 numbers are like 800 numbers. So like 800 numbers are free, but 900 numbers are charged, and they charge you by the minute. And so like you could call and get racy, like hook up with racy.
Oh, okay. I've heard of these.
It's the original phone sex.
Yeah. And so like
or psychics.
Yeah.
Or psychics. Miss Cleo
That's how
900.
Now I know. Thank you, RuPaul's Drag Race, for teaching me that.
Oh my god, Miss Cleo was everything. I love
Yeah, no, I've heard of that now. Yeah, I never knew that was the distinction between 800 and 900. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're
3
very
to 4.
expensive.
Yeah.
Holy, that's a lot.
So especially in the 90s.
I love that Thomas knows exactly how much they cost. I wasn't old enough to actually be able to use them. Like, my parents would have gotten the bill. But I always had this idea that it was like a big number up front and then like a smaller number per minute or something, like even cell phones.
Oh, like a fee per call, then a fee per minute after.
So it was like $5 a call and then 50 cents a minute or something like that. But I think I just got that. I think I just got that impression from cell phones whenever they first started.
I was gonna say, and I think at some point they switched to 800s, and you would call and you'd give them a credit card, because that's the thing, is like credit cards weren't really a thing until like stuff.
That's true. Like, I grew up in the age where you would put the credit card and then you would put the triplicate thing on there and you go ching ching, and then
Carbon
and then
paper.
you have to sign the slip. It was awesome.
I have no idea what you're talking about now. You've completely lost me.
You know, like in triplicate, like
Carbon paper.
What's a triplicate?
Carbon paper.
So there'd be a white one, a blue. There typically would be a white one, a yellow one, and a red one. Sometimes it'd be red. Sometimes it'd be white, red, blue. But literally,
Right.
like, I remember, like, April, you might remember this. Like, I can go even. Yeah, sometimes, and this is the thing. I remember even further where I worked at a place once for a hot minute where we had 4 pieces of carbon paper. So when we did the slip, we had to take the one piece of carbon paper, put that in between, run the thing over the top. It would it would literally impress the carbon paper into the second thing, and that's how you made the copy. That's literally where carbon copy came from. And then in like the early 90s, they got a fancy paper that you didn't need the carbon paper. It just did it automatically. And then I realized you could write on it with like with pressure and like your finger, and it would make copies.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing that happened before you had photocopiers at home.
You have to sign this in triplicate, press hard. Like, that was a thing, and you had to like really do your signature. And
welcome to the other side of sales, where we teach children like me how things used to work.
You don't even know.
Teaching the children.
Have you ever said to somebody, like, they're like, you look amazing, and then you look back and you're like, ditto? Have you ever said that?
Mm-hmm.
Have you
I've said it. Yeah, I've heard it used in like TV and movies from like the 2000s.
A ditto machine?
No, I don't know what you're talking. What's a ditto machine?
That's before copy machines.
Yep.
Before copy machines, ditto machine.
So the first...
It's like Kleenex. There was actually a brand named Ditto, and so people use Ditto machines.
Oh.
So when you say ditto, it means like, oh, I copy that, like samesies, right? That's why that phrase is a thing, is because of ditto machines.
Yep.
So when I hear the word ditto, I think of Pokemon.
Not me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Not at all.
See, I feel like I'm translating between the generations here, because I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. Oh yeah, I know that.
You actually is like the halfway point, though. Like, you are.
I really am in this conversation. I have 1 foot solidly in both generations.
That's true. So my youngest
elder millennials
was shopping the other day, and we're walking along. Like, she called on Sundays we go to church, but that's actually Target. Like we go to Target.
Ah! No, that is church. That is a church. That is that's a place of worship.
Church, and we'll say like 1
Yeah,
o'clock. And
just like God, Target tells you what you need when you get there.
And we pray to the gods that like the newest fashions have come out, and we have a whole thing. So like we go to Chewy's, we get Mexican food, and then we go to church and we go look at the clothes and whatever. And she's trans, and so it's really fun for me on Sundays because we go to Target and we pick out new clothes for her that like really make her feel beautiful and amazing. So it's my favorite thing.
Oh my goodness.
But wait, where were we going with this?
It's the other side of sales. We're never going anywhere with this.
This is why we're experts in communication.
Oh, look, Ashley did a segue.
No, but hang on, we were saying.
We'll remember at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I know what it is. It's generations. So we're walking through the other day, and I look, and I was like, "Oh, look, honey, Naruto sweatpants. Do you want some?" And she goes, "Never talk to me again." Never.
Shit!
I timed that drink very poorly.
Hey, I mean, at least Target pays taxes. Is it too soon for that joke? So speaking
At
of,
least when you spend at Target, it's contributing to the economy.
so April, you might be the most qualified person here to talk about it based on the anecdotes you've given us here. But
Sure.
I love the fact that because I grew up with like the chatting online, the texting, and video games were multiplayer. I went to a virtual high school. My first jobs were remote. List goes on, right? So you can imagine the nuanced differences in how people like me talk to their bosses in Slack or like Microsoft Teams. Non-spawn, but if I wouldn't say no to a Slack sponsor, if you know somebody. Manifesting.
Like GIFs or GIFs if you're a real fucking nerd.
Gifts. That's our
gifts.
That's our bad question. It's gifts.
It's
Sorry,
gifs.
I will die on this hill. Graphics, GIF.
If you're a real nerd, it's a GIF. Like you really stick with it, right? So GIFs are a thing, and emojis. I love them. Now, one thing that I told my kids, that I taught my kids, is that we text in full sentences with appropriate punctuation. It's a thing. And my kids do it. They're 21, and almost 17. And we have never had a moment where I've had to be like, no, like this is
That's
not.
cool.
We don't. But we also text in emojis and GIFs and memes, right? Like it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
But Ashley knows, I find myself on Slack all the time, just like throwing out a GIF. And especially because in Slack, you can see, this is kind of annoying, but kind of amazing, what somebody searched for. So like if the message isn't really clear, like from a communication perspective, you can also look and see what they searched for and have another clue to figure out what it is that they meant. I love that. I think that's amazing. I do it all the time.
So what would you say to my former bosses? And Ashley, I wonder if you have the same answer here because you work with a lot of sales teams of like all different types of people on the teams. They're like, they would just get angry that they didn't understand it instead of just flat out asking me. Like it's just like the self victimization is real. So all
right. So I have a thing to say about this, and this is like a real thing. This isn't fucking around, right? Like this is a real.
We may be fucking around in our answer, but it's a real problem.
It is a real problem. I have a real answer that's not fucking around, and it is
awesome.
This. It is people communicate in many different ways. I call them frequencies, right? Mm-hmm. There are people who communicate in AM. They were born with pocket protectors in their birthday suits. They are very, like, maybe they're engineers, but they communicate in AM. If you don't know what that means, look at your radio, turn it to AM, and listen to like the boring talk shows, right?
That means you have to have a radio that's not on your phone.
Yes, that's true. There are other people who communicate in FM, like the rock channels.
Oh, now I get it. Okay, I'm caught up. Okay.
You don't know that one either, but people know, right? There are some people who communicate in Spotify or Sirius satellite radio. What you have to do, if you are trying to communicate to someone and you want them to hear what you are saying, you have to figure out what frequency they hear you on, and you have to figure out how to communicate on that frequency. If someone speaks AM, do not roll up with Pandora fucking radio because they cannot understand what it is that you are saying. If they speak NPR, don't talk Lizzo to them. It doesn't work, right?
You can move them there eventually, but you have to start at their frequency. You have to start there.
And if someone doesn't understand what you say, I am an NPR ambassador. I love them. I do like donate to them.
Shout out to NPR. Donate your pledge drives.
Yeah, shout out NPR sponsored Other Side of Sales.
Oh my god, manifesting.
So good. The thing is if it is important to you that someone else hears what you're saying and you don't take the time to figure out what frequency they are communicating on and say things in a way that they can hear, if they don't get the message, it's your fucking fault. Full stop. Full stop.
So
they can choose to ignore it.
I'm gonna drink again.
They can choose to ignore it, but yeah, it's on us, especially as sales professionals, especially when we're dealing with our bosses and stuff. If they don't understand it, that's not on them, that's on us. We have to take this, we have to make sure they understand. They can choose to ignore it, they can choose to dismiss it, they can choose to intentionally misinterpret it. Because I've seen that too and fallen victim to that. I explained it 30 different times, like, no, you're intentionally misinterpreting me now. That's a different thing.
That's why you keep receipts, right? Where you're like, wait, I spoke on your frequency. I used the words that you use, and you still, like, this is where I can say you very intentionally did this.
Bingo.
Yeah. When I was, my background working in stand-up comedy, one thing they teach you is there's no bad audiences, there's just bad comedians. So you have to it's your job as a comedian to find what will make that audience laugh. That is your job. The job isn't to do anything else. And also, Credence, thank you so much for the feedback. I just found out that our QR code gets blocked by the live logo that is on LinkedIn. So I will be changing that. If you wanted to use the QR code, please DM me on LinkedIn. I'll send you the direct link.
I'll drop a link in the chat.
It's not going to be clickable on LinkedIn live chat, unfortunately. So just DM me after the show if you wanted to use that QR code.
Or just going to buy me a coffee/OSOS.
There you go. But yes, Jake, if you only speak AM, you have to blow cigar smoke into your Electro Voice RE20. What the hell is that? Expensive, but not optional. But not optional.
So he either showed his age or his dorkiness. I'm not sure which, but I appreciate it.
Or both. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I actually know what that.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you once again, Credence, for that. I've learned so many things about technology this time.
I want to tell Jess, so I do drop money at NPR, but I also drop a lot of money at Target because while Target isn't cheaper than therapy, I do think it's more effective. And so I go to therapy every 2 weeks, but I go to Target twice a week. That's the.
You got the Target MasterCard?
You know what? I use my American Express because I travel a lot.
There you go.
And I use my American Express. I used to work for American Express. If anybody ever wants tips on maximizing like how you use your American Express to run your business so that you can get non 1099 income, that's me. I'm the one.
Yeah. I'm being quiet long enough in the follow. Make sure you're following her.
What's the guy from The Voice?
I don't know.
What?
Blake Sheldon.
Oh, Blake. He does this. Yeah, he does this when he wants some. Yeah. How does his finger not hurt after making that motion that long?
I don't know. Yeah,
or maybe it's the years of carpal tunnel.
I can make it worse. This finger pops. This joint actually pops. It has my whole life. Ugh. So like I can go full ASMR. I don't know if you'll hear it, but like.
No, hold up. No.
Ashley's top joint like both my fingers do that. Like this top joint pops every time
I don't want to hear that. You're canceled. I will mute you.
So can I tell you how bad I am at pop culture? I own, oh my God, I don't know words. I owned my first TV, my own TV that I've ever owned by myself when I was 42 years old, which was last year. Like first. Now I've dated guys with TVs and I was married to a guy with a TV, but they had them before. Like we didn't buy TVs when we were together. It's not a thing. So anyway, but I
I'm
love
sitting here laughing because I'm like, I have had at least 2 TVs since I was 19.
Yeah. We didn't, when I was a kid, my parents got a TV when they got married in like 75. And we had the same TV. That was the only TV we had. We had the same TV when I graduated from high school in 1997. And so like it had like a coat hanger thing that we did to get, and it didn't have a remote control. You had to change the channels, like you had to do this. And so I didn't grow up with TV. I grew up with books, and that's fine. So anyway, I have a TV now, but I love The Voice. And I was watching The Voice, and I didn't realize that the people who are on The Voice are like famous people. I just thought they were like people, right? Like really
Wait,
good.
The Voice or Masked Singer?
The Voice.
The Voice.
Oh, you're with people in the chair.
The chairs, they spin.
Like,
yeah.
Who, like, are turning. And so I was like, this is like years ago. I was like, who's the really cute one with all the tattoos? And they were like, my kids were like Adam Levine. And I was like, you say that like I should know. And they're like Maroon 5. And I was like, but here's to illustrate how bad I am at pop culture. When I worked at American Express, I worked with a woman. She's a fantastic human. She and her husband had a brand new house built. They brought in a decorator who like did the whole thing, right? I don't even clean my house. Like I have somebody else.
I've heard this story. This is good.
Yeah. So they like, I don't decorate. I don't do any of those things. So you have to understand, and I don't do pop culture. She brings in a designer. They do the whole house, and she sends out a text message to the group, and it's a picture of her kitchen. And she goes, look, my designer was able to get Kylie Jenner's chandelier. And I wrote back, I think her name is, what was her name? Ashley, what's the main one?
Kim?
I think her name's Kim. And she was like,
I'm in pain.
And she was like, no, there are multiples. And I was like, what? Are you fucking kidding me? There are more Kardashians? Like, I had no idea. No clue that there were multiple Kardashians.
They're like an STD. There's just so many. It's hard to keep track, and you just basically have to listen to your doctor.
No, it wasn't Kylie Jenner. It must have been, I don't know, because I can't even tell the story because it was a Kardashian, but I didn't know there were multiple.
Yeah, no, it's a whole family. It's like well, now it sounds like you know.
But
I'm still
famous for being famous. They're like Paris Hilton.
They're worse.
I like Paris Hilton. Watch her documentary.
Exactly. I love. I'm sorry, Paris Hilton's like At Home with Paris Hilton thing a couple years ago was brilliant.
The Cooking with Paris, by the way, will send
That's
you.
what I'm talking about. Cooking with Paris.
What are you doing with the QR code? Evan, stop that.
I didn't mean to block her face. I'm working on it. I'm trying. Mom, they're being mean.
I have to leave here.
Yeah,
I'm now talking QR code.
I don't care about being famous for being famous. I just don't know who any of them are, right? Like that's the thing. So
yeah, I get that. That's fucking funny though.
Wait, we're almost done. And the thing that we didn't talk about, Evan, that we talked about the other day were challenge network groups. Do we want to talk?
Yes, let's talk about challenge network groups.
I'm bringing us back here. This is why I'm in sales, because I can keep it real.
This is how you can tell which one of the three of us is a parent.
Yes, that's true.
And which one of us is young enough to need a parent still?
No, actually, I was surprised. I need parents. My kids parent me, for sure.
Fair.
Actually, Evan hadn't heard of a challenge network before, and I was surprised. But have you heard of this? It's like something that it's happened before, but kind of like Adam Grant coined the phrase challenge network.
I've heard it loosely. I feel like I know what it is, but I've never done one.
Okay, so I do this with my clients, and I have my students do this as well, and it's such a cool exercise. So the thought process behind this is, and this is all about kind of communication and feedback, right? Like how to get hard feedback. Sometimes the best way to get hard feedback is to specifically ask for it. People aren't designed to tell you the hard stuff. They just want to tell you good stuff. So the thought is that if you surround yourself with, Credence comes out with all the fucking Kardashians. I don't know any of them.
Yeah.
So if you surround yourself with people who like loosely wants you to succeed and you come to them with an idea, they're likely to grin fuck you, right? They're like, yeah, it's great. You probably can do that, whatever. But if you really want to be successful, surround yourself with people who will give you hard feedback, who won't just grin fuck you. I don't know if that's a phrase, if I'm allowed to say that on LinkedIn, but I just did. Grin fuck. And if you don't know what it means, slide into my DMs. So what you do in a challenge network is you invite people who care enough about your success that they will step outside of their comfort zone and give you tough feedback about your idea, your process, your product, whatever it is. And you start the challenge network session by giving a very brief overview about what you do, whatever. What service you're offering, what your product is, maybe 5 minutes. And then you open the floor and you ask them to ask you hard questions. These questions are things like, how are you going to make revenue on this? Is your pricing the right pricing? Do people even want it? What are your clients? You said, whatever it is. And instead of justifying, because this is what we do, you get hard feedback. You tell me, hey, I listened into your sales call the other day and you said, a lot. And in fact, this is a real life scenario. I have given this feedback to someone where I said, you said 72 times in a 20-minute presentation. And they said to me, I kid you not, this is very real. They said, is something that a lot of humans say. So I try not to curb that so that I can feel more human to them and they can relate to me more.
There are 30 different ways that you can do that don't involve messing up your communication delivery by saying,
Exactly. And what I said to them was, what you're doing is justifying instead of hearing the feedback. So in a challenge network setting, what you do is instead of justifying, you take a step back and you say, okay, I hear that. I hear that and I'm going to take it. Now, you may not agree with it. You might not change anything once you've evaluated it, but our first instinct is to be like, no, I don't, or that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But instead, you surround yourself with people who will give you hard feedback, and then you take it with you and you take it away and you sit with it. That's one of the most amazing things that you can do as a human.
Yeah.
I love like Ted. There's a great scene in Ted Lasso where somebody
every episode you quote Ted Lasso.
It's brilliant.
Every single episode.
It's so brilliant.
I've never seen it.
Well, somebody makes a suggestion, like, I'm going to take it. I'm going to try it on. I'm going to wear it out. I'm going to see how it feels. I may keep it. I may return it. It's okay, but I'm going to try. That's the attitude you need to have to feedback, is I'm going to take it. I'm going to try it on. I'm going to think about it. It reminds me, actually, it's really funny, April, you mentioned that, because our former coworker, Mike, who's the CEO of Duckbill, actually mentioned a book called The Mom Test, and I literally ordered it, and it's getting here in a couple of days. It's all about exactly what you're talking about, and that specifically applied to how to do customer research. But it's that exact same thing. It's like how to make sure that you're getting the feedback you need to get,
not just the feedback you want to get.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of, this is how I trained myself, because I used to be that person that would try to justify it.
Everyone does. That's human nature.
Well, I told my therapist that I was having trouble knocking the habit, and she said sometimes people do that because the feedback they got wasn't helpful, and it wasn't because it wasn't helpful, it was because they didn't ask for it in the right way. So, for example, when I was, there'll be times like, I make a lot of content, right? I'll ask for feedback on it, and when someone will say, I'm not sure what this means, instead of going, well, it means this, X, Y, and Z, or whatever, like I'm justified, I'll go, I'm trying to get this point across. What would you have done differently? So, I will ask for clarification. What?
Can I be one of your boyfriends?
Yeah, I'm a big believer of, like, whenever my partners or clients, anybody, like, says something, my reaction is always like, okay, let me tell you what my intention was, because clearly you're telling me the impact, right? I know my intention. So,
and the impact is valid.
And your impact is valid. So I'm asking you, how can I make my intention give the impact that I intended? So, like, my boyfriend's like, Evan, that was a really bitchy way to say this. And I'm like, well, I wasn't trying to be bitchy. So let me tell you what I was trying to say. And then they go, oh, try this instead. So there's and if they like you, and if they're let me rephrase that. If they're not a shit human being, they will answer that question.
If they don't drink eggnog or eat truffle fries, then they.
And if they're not from Connecticut,
Yeah, screw Connecticut.
That's not a state; it's a concept. Why is it even like just why? That's the whole question.
Yeah, Connecticut's canceled.
Yes, there you go. There's Ashley and Connecticut. Remember, Ashley is never not canceled. Things are always canceled in addition to, not in lieu of Ashley. And once again,
I won't cancel you.
As we close out the show, I have to say, for legal reasons, whenever I cancel Ashley, that is a joke. And if you can't understand that,
I'm in on the joke. It's fine.
Stop DMing me. And my mom is sick of your calls. She gets it. Damn it. Damn. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show, April. Ashley, you were here.
Oh my god,
yes,
Ashley,
I was.
the same look. Did you see us just do the same look? It was insane. We both tilt our heads aside and like put our eyes and we go.
No, Ashley's fantastic. I love doing the show with Ashley. So that's all. Yeah. This is her baby at the end of the day. So I really appreciate it.
I deign to involve you in it, so it's fine.
Well, thank you so much, April. Where can everybody find you other than stalking you illegally?
I mean, stalking is fine. It's fine.
Please don't stalk April.
LinkedIn is really easy. I'm linkedin.com/n/hotmessboss. And on Instagram, I am also hotmessboss. Do not.
Her Instagram is awesome.
My Instagram is something else. I don't have a social media strategy, right? So what you see
That's
is
fine.
Like whatever comes out of my mouth.
Your strategy is that. That is the strategy.
The strategy is no strategy. It's totally fine. Yeah, follow me, connect with me. Please don't send me a picture of your genitalia, but I love puppy pics and I love kitty pics, and I'm happy to like help wherever I can, whenever I can. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're in the Richmond, DC area, I do have to tell this. We're doing a live in real life meetup in DC on Thursday the 15th. And we're calling it Campy Holidays. You dress up as your favorite holiday, but like camp. And but you don't have to dress up. You just can show up. It's at Hook Hall, not Hooker Hall. Hall in DC on Thursday the 15th. Find me. It's on my events. And so if you're in the DC, Baltimore, Richmond area, come Norfolk, Virginia Beach, come see us, because I really love to give people in real life hugs, and I'm such a good hugger. Like, I don't want to like pat myself on the back, but I am. I'm a hugger. And so come hug me.
Sounds like a boatload of fun. I wish we could be there. I am. It's just girl. It's cold. I'm leaving. I'm not leaving this house. I'm staying put. But yes, thank you so much for everything. And of course, remember to like and follow The Other Side of Sales. We do new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Feel free to scan that QR code real quick before you end the stream if you're an ally, and help cover the production costs. And as well, if you're looking for sponsorship opportunities of The Other Side of Sales, please DM Ashley early or email hello@othersideofsales.com. We also, once again, follow Ashley, follow me, follow April, follow The Other Side of Sales, follow Ryan Woodard. Don't follow the Conservative Party.
Follow the line. It's totally fine.
And on that note,